Hello and welcome to the NUFC Fans Forum. Yes, something has changed. I've had my haircut. I'm joined by Simon Gallagher and Andy Murray.
Hello.
You are Scottish, Andy Murray.
I'm very Scottish.
But only when he gets beat, crucially. Don't worry if you don't like him too much. We're going to play musical chairs for the next couple of weeks and we'll just stop when the comments improve.
I'm staying.
You're staying. I'm staying. Sorry. So we've got some Newcastle United stuff to talk about. Hope you don't mind. We've won 3 games on the bounce. Ha ha ha. That's good.
Amazing.
It is.
It's not bad, is it?
There we go. You see, I told you there was no pressure to be entertaining or insightful, so it's a solid start, Andy. We're 4th in the league. Now, if you remember our last video, we were patting ourselves on the back that you'd correctly predicted would be. You said 10th and we were 9th. We'll give you that. Now, none of us correctly predicted that after 5 games we'd be, the runaway leaders for that 4th Champions League place. And it was obviously a great result at the weekend. A lot of our rivals dropped points.
Champions League rivals.
Or Champions League rivals. Spurs dropped points. Arsenal and Chelsea both dropped points. Everton dropped points. If they're still...
I don't think they are.
I mean, Mourinho said, why else would you spend that money? So, I mean, verbally we have to consider them challenges. But, I mean, we're already 5 points clear of them? We're laughing.
They're done.
We're going to go start at the Stoke game. Because I think there's a lot of interesting elements of that. Did we all see it in some capacity?
Yes.
Yes, I wasn't at the game, but I saw the highlights.
Read, I had a dodgy stream.
Wait.
I was at the game.
Of course you were in the game, eating your ox cheek. Whatever it is they serve you in the posh.
It was duck à l'orange.
Duck à l'orange. I'm so jealous. A 2-1 win. So we played quite well. We should have scored a hatful of goals.
Yes.
We didn't. We had a 1-0 lead. We conceded an equaliser, and then something miraculous happened, which I've not seen for a long time. The noise levels went up, and the team got bolder.
Yes.
Now, I've spent the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years watching Newcastle United sides promptly drop their arsehole in that situation, retreat further into themselves, and give away another bad goal. Now, am I oversimplifying it? And bear in mind, there's no pressure on you, Andy, to be insightful or entertaining here. No pressure at all. Is it oversimplifying it to say it's because we've got Rafa Benitez now?
I don't think it is. The characteristic of an Alan Pardew team is that they tend to have the structural integrity of a piece of wet tissue paper when the going gets tough.
You'll go far here.
So, I mean, in a certain way, it is kind of an oversimplification, but it's just a difference in the golfing class between the managers, isn't it?
Well, you say golfing class between the managers because on paper, Stoke are one of those sides that have gone and bought big-name targets. They've repeatedly broken their transfer record. Shaqiri from Bayern, Hesse from Real Madrid. They've got the sort of signings that I think a lot of our fans, ourselves included,
the ones that would want
really wanted.
Sexy signings.
Yeah, and we had their 5th choice striker on the field who didn't have the greatest game.
I don't think he had a bad game.
No,
I think he had a bad finishing.
Yes.
Game.
I might get hell for this, but there's a touch of the Luke de Jong about him, if you ask me. His finishing. He gets into much better positions, and he looks a lot more thrustful. Let's say that.
Thrustful.
But his finishing's extremely erratic. I know the previous game, 9 shots on target in his first 2-3 games or something like that. But
I think he was unlucky to not score more goals than he already has. I mean, one against Swansea especially, did incredibly well to get that header on target.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And 99 times out of 100, that goes in.
Superhuman.
What did you make of it? Because you were there. It felt to me when I watched it, there was a huge rise in the support when it went to 1-1. People weren't like, "Oh, I can't believe we took this away."
You know what I'm going to say? The crowd didn't do. The crowd didn't do it. I say this
I'm not saying they did it.
What happened was, you correctly say, the team didn't capitulate when we conceded the first goal, and we immediately organised well and took everything that they were trying to.
You've done boxing, Simon. I would never ever. I've never ever. I'm not saying the fans got that second goal.
No.
But it was a different. You've seen so many times that goal was in. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Shoulder slump. Everybody moans. Whether or not it has an impact, that's you have that opinion, whatever you want. But the fact that the noise level, the support went straight back up. People got behind the team straight away. That's not something I've seen in a long time.
Well, because the heads didn't drop. I don't think that our fans react to us going a goal behind as much as the way we immediately react after a goal behind. Concede a goal. If they'd come out, then even though Stoke were in the ascendancy, if they dropped their heads and not continued with Rafa's model, which is obviously press and keep structure, then we might have complained. We might have complained about the fact that Rob Elliott probably should have saved that.
I think
yeah.
But
me and you would have had it.
It went The head stayed up, so the crowd. Head stayed up as well. I don't think it's...
Speaking of head staying up, I've not seen anything as adorable in my entire life as Matt Ritchie's little shadow header from that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that was adorable.
Also, Jill Lascelles' tweet about it's costing her loads of money, this, because she always used to say it's a $5 when you score.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Bless her. Jill, please do hit us up. We'd like to have you on at some point. we might be looking for a third presenter.
I think it's shocking that teams are setting up to play zonal marking. When you've got
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lascelles, a man who can run and jump.
Yeah.
Well, they were the pundits on Match of the Day, or maybe it was the commentators, but they were talking about how Stoke had specifically set out to pinpoint Lascelles as a threat from corners, and then
it was quite funny. the referee,
wankers,
dopes.
The referee did quite well for us because he was complaining, wasn't he?
That's something I've not heard in a long time.
He ran off the referee. No, I mean Lascelles.
Because it should have been a penalty.
Straight from the...
He's like shouting at the referee and he turns around and runs and heads it in. Like, even if
Are you telling me the Stoke players were looking around going, are we set up for this set piece? Yeah, the ref's got the number 6. That's fine, I'm all right.
That must have been the case.
Another thing that's obviously quite unusual is, and we all made the joke after the Swansea game, and we now get to make the joke doubly hard this time. We're scoring goals from corners.
Yeah.
It's bewildering, isn't it?
I thought it was brilliant for the Swansea game that Alan Pardew had to sit there and do punditry duties after watching us do like a battling away performance, clean sheet, and a goal from a set piece. But now, like, we look dangerous from set pieces. Both of Richie's balls in for both the goals were incredible.
One of the best games he's had for us, certainly, from what I saw, which was admittedly restricted to clips. But yeah, that's what he can do. He's got the image of just a textbook British PFM, but he's got a wand of a left foot.
I'm not saying that I'm due any credit for this, but when I played my Fantasy League wildcard, I did sit there for a good couple of minutes and think, Shelvey or Richie, Shelvey or Richie, Shelvey or Richie. And you talked me into the idea that Shelvey was going to get straight back in the team. I thought, point to prove.
I was wrong.
Set pieces. I'll leave Richie out for now because he picks up quite a few bookings, and I'll go with Shelvey. And so you're welcome, Matthew. As a team performance, I mean, it's obviously easy to pick out, like, Lascelles got another header, Richie got those 2 great assists, but we hung on quite well towards the end, I thought, because Stoke really went for it, especially when they brought on Crouch, and we traditionally don't deal with these type of...
Him in particular, we never ever deal with him. He scored an absolute world-class looping header last time, if I remember correctly.
Many years ago. Who was marking him? Was it every man's favourite Kieran Clark?
I don't know.
No idea.
Probably.
Kieran Clark, who we were told was the worst player ever when he signed from Villa, of course.
Well, by us on this when it happened. Wasn't all of us. God rest his soul. I think as a team performance goes, it looked very complete. I mean, Marino, I keep expecting him to have a bad game and people to turn on him. He
lost the ball a couple of times.
He did lose the ball a couple of times, but he battles back. He never gets caught out. Hayden as well. I still think he's finding the step up difficult, but again, he didn't look out of his depth.
Yeah.
And he's
not a flashy centre midfielder, is he? So he's not going to...
No, he's very nuts.
Am I right in thinking he got another early booking this time?
It wasn't quite as early, but he did get a booking. Sorry, I think it was later on.
Was it later on? I might be getting the Swansea game confused.
They were breaking.
Yes, it was one for the team job.
Fox, I think, yeah.
Do you think perhaps Jesus Gomez was a bit unfortunate to be dropped straight away from Mbemba?
Well, no, because Mbemba is amazing.
He had a lovely game.
Considering we've had to live on scraps, I won't bring his name up. But to have him, who isn't... He's not a recognisable left-back. And to play like that. When he came forward, the skill that he did on Shaqiri and just absolutely sent him to hospital.
He had his life.
It's the best thing I've ever
seen.
sent
him for the paper, didn't you?
It was the ball that he played in
it just looped.
Posselu's chance,
Should have scored that one.
Yeah, we'll get to the forwards in a bit. Are we getting to the stage where I'm going to have to leave a message on the lift at home and just say, Chancel, dinner round mine, whenever you want. Cook you out. Don't know, I try to drop it in as often as I can. Chancel Mbemba lives up a few floors up from me in my building. See him quite regularly. He wears Gucci flip-flops.
Taught him everything he knows.
Taught him everything he knows about the region. Yeah, he's a good guy. He helped me with bins once. Moving on. Atsu, is he... Because there's a bit of competition now, because obviously Murphy we spent a lot of money for, so he's going to expect to play. Do you think Atsu's nailed on a starter now?
I think he has to be.
Yeah. I mean, he's a very flawed player. He has a touch of the Obertans about him every now and then. But
I'm going to have to ask you, to expand on that? When you say touch of the Obertans?
The headless chicken. Occasionally. He's very focused on just getting the ball and doing the most direct thing possible a lot of the time, which is a good thing because he's the only player we have like that. But at the same time, it doesn't always come off. Admittedly, the thing that separates him from Obertan is the fact that Atsu appears to have a functioning adult brain.
Yes, and an end product.
Yeah, but no, he's certainly a much more effective player than Obertan, don't get me wrong. But
do you wonder whether he was supposed to start this season? I know that we bought him like permanently.
Jacob Murphy or Atsu?
No, I mean Atsu.
Well,
because he cost $6 million.
I remember.
He didn't do very well last season.
I certainly remember around the time when the fee was getting thrown about. People were like, $6 million. Yeah, if we get him, that's good. People were like, well, we've got to keep him.
Reaction.
We've got to keep him.
Same here.
But I think if you look at him in pre-season, in the first couple of games against Spurs, I thought he was absolutely excellent.
He was tremendous.
Apparently, I was reading a thing somewhere as well that Swansea prepared for... The reason Atsu didn't play was Swansea exclusively prepared for Atsu. Yeah. So he thought, I'm going to play Jacob Murphy. Yeah. It didn't exactly...
Didn't really come off, did it?
It wasn't what got us the win, but it's nice to see that we're fielding a squad for the first time in a long time. The main talking point, and we never agree on this, and I think I change my mind week to week. Jose Perez is still the starting number 10. Doesn't get replaced, doesn't get hauled off. People I was watching the game with against Swansea in the pub were incandescent he stayed on. And to be honest,
I was as well.
How long? Well, okay, we'll get to how long he persists with him in a second, but why is Jose Perez starting every single week? Is it a lack of options? Is there something there that we're just not appreciating?
I don't know. Look at Diarmi. When he's come on at centre midfield. He's not coming on.
He's come on much deeper.
AMC, so maybe he's lost faith.
Cam.
I don't think there's any other option really. I mean, unless you want to go a bit rogue and throw Shelvey in there.
Yeah. Or the double pivot that we've been.
Shelvey or Richie, yeah.
Well,
Richie's doing well outside.
Yeah, Richie's delivery from wide, I think, makes him.
It makes I don't see why Jacob Murphy couldn't play there for speed, but I'm basing that on precisely nothing because I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen him play.
How would you describe Jose Perez? Let's say an alien landed tomorrow and he was familiar enough with the concepts of football and Newcastle United that you could skip those bits. How would you describe Jose Perez to them?
A very, very continental attacking midfielder, in that he would work exceptionally well everywhere but England, probably.
Interesting.
I think I'd agree with that, but the main thing that strikes me about him is the way he just completely kills our attacking moves as soon as the ball lands at his feet. There's
times in breaks, especially, where you sort of think, because he's a young player who's got a bit of skill about him, you think, you get the ball, he'll leave his mark.
Yeah, exactly.
And he gets it, and his first action is
have a look.
And then just rolls it around. Is that specifically why he's in there, though?
I think that's probably the tactic. I think it has to be. Like, I don't agree with it or anything, but I would say if Rafa persists with him and he's doing that, then he's being told to do that, probably. Because there were times 2 seasons ago when he was running out wide much more, and he just doesn't do it anymore.
So do you think, obviously, the idea this season, we've already seen, as we sit a lot deeper, we try and take the ball back. I think we had less possession against Stoke, even as the home team. The idea being that if we have players like you say, like Atsu, who are very direct, they'll get it on a break, and it might just be 1 or 2 of them run into a field of 4 or 5 players. The idea being you take these movements, these transitions, go through Perez, who will keep the ball, he'll move away from like where the players are coming back and go, right, let other people get involved. Almost like a target man, but instead of hitting a long ball up to him and fighting people off, he just holds it up.
I think he does 2 functions, like you've just said, both of them, basically. One of them is he'll break, and he can break fairly well at speed if the ball drops him on the edge of the box, and he will be direct then. But I think it's if you play with Hosselu in front of him.
Have we all heard the Hosselu song, by the way?
Yes.
Seen the video as well.
The video, yeah.
If you play with him,
your man's
up top. Yes, your man's.
Your man's. Yep, your man's.
You don't want him to be running with Iosi running behind him, as it were. You want Iosi to drop the ball back, to hit the ball to Hosselu, to then have the attack come after that.
Yeah, phase. I agree with that.
So that's probably what it is. I don't.
It's frustrating.
Like watching him, and there was a stat that said that he's won the most tackles.
Oh wow!
In the weekend, that game.
That would surprise me.
Which is good, but he's an attacking midfielder.
Out of us?
Out of everybody.
In the league?
The entire weekend, yeah.
What the hell?
because his function is obviously also high press.
That's like hearing your Dokely mates pull 20 birds in the first week of uni, isn't it?
All right.
David, David's... What? With a fit?
I love to think that there is a David.
In my life somewhere. Yeah. Is there?
Everyone knows
probably a couple of Davids.
Yeah.
Sorry, David. I didn't mean you. You've never pulled anyone. Would you change it?
We've won 3 games. I wouldn't change the team at all.
Yeah, wouldn't change a thing.
Where does Dwight Gale get back in? Where does John Joe Shelvey get back in? Or do they not now? Are they...
I think Hayden's going to get a yellow card ban. And so that's probably where Shelvey gets back in.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you could probably experiment with Shelvey at number 10. It's a risk, mind you, because he's an idiot. But he's a good player. He has a good shot on him. It might be worth a go, but if we are playing Perez as this kind of auxiliary target man, it would completely change the way we play.
Yeah.
Shelby's I would be more inclined to think that Shelby and Gale would play in the same team. Like looking at last season.
Oh, like the Drinkwater Vardy dynamic almost.
But then Shelby can probably put the ball on Hoslu's head as well.
I think so too.
I would just think that those two go together better.
It's nice to be able to talk about these kind of options, isn't it?
Considering the doom and gloom about the squad.
Yeah, we did it. We did it last season. Obviously, in the Championship, we had options coming out that wazoo. But as a Premier League side, it's very rare we've been able to stand and go, well, actually, I'll tell you how I play. I bring in so-and-so and do this. And we can probably leave 2 of our more important players on the bench because everyone else is doing the jobs. And it's a nice situation to be in.
We've still got Mitrovic as well.
We've still got Mitrovic to come back. You don't care.
I don't.
Do. Yeah, you're new on this. Come on.
I like the idea of him.
Mitrovic.
The Mitrovic debate always goes one of 2 ways. He doesn't like Mitrovic too much. I do like Mitrovic.
Scottish heritage and Scottish.
And Ross used to change his mind every week.
Say.
So some weeks the pod would be like pro Mitrovic and some weeks would be anti Mitrovic. So you're the deciding vote this week.
I think I'm going to be the drifter, but this week I'm not feeling Mitrovic, to be perfectly honest.
You've forgotten all about him, that's why.
Like Simon, I like the idea of him. And I like his kind of outward display of passion, as us Brits love. I just don't think he's that good. He's good at holding up the ball, laying it off, but
he's so good for Serbia, though. I
don't understand. That's the thing. It could be perhaps the Serbian attack is completely built around Serbian.
Maybe he just genuinely doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he speaks Serbian, to be totally honest with you.
I like the fact that he's a bit nuts. I like my players a bit...
That's what I meant by the Duncan Ferguson comment, by the way. Because as Scotsmen, the pair of you, you would appreciate Duncan Ferguson more than everybody. I mean, I do as well because of his time in Newcastle.
Top bloke.
Remember that lovely...
But he was absolutely nuts.
He was?
Yeah.
Mad as a bag of smashed crabs, that boy.
There's that story about a couple of lads breaking into his house, big Dunk beating them up, sitting on them until the police arrived.
I haven't heard this story. Is there any more?
Like the most famous.
Is there any more than what you've just said?
So that's about it.
Okay, we'll leave it there then.
Imagine the terror. You break into a house that's big and rich, and you're like,
Dunk.
This is a massive score. Oh shit!
Wish we had animators on this channel because I quite like to see that. We have Brighton coming up. Now, obviously, a tug on the heartstrings, this one, because we've got a Champions League place to push for. But in order to carry on that momentum, we have to steamroller over the nicest man in football, Chrissy Hughton, and his Brighton and Hove Albion All-Stars.
The Newcastle Premier League manager with the 3rd most goals conceded rate.
Wow.
I mean, you're running a risk here because remember last time you started.
That's a recycled stat. I don't even know if I got it.
Remember, I can't be right.
I've got a mate.
Premier League.
No, I
managed for 6 months.
We were in a tidy position when he left.
Per game.
I think it's per game. Yeah.
Nah, it's rubbish. Not having that.
I've got a mate who sends me anti-Chris Hughton stats at least twice, 3 times a week.
Is it Pardew?
Yeah. Because he, like me, does not go in for the hyperbole that greets that man.
Wow. He's just a nice man. He did a good job.
Yes, he's a nice man. He's did a nice job. Getting another thing. He should not have been a Premier League manager, and he got canned at exactly the right time.
That's a spicy take.
It's a cold take. Let's be honest. It's an absolute garbage take.
Yeah. You look at the success Alan Pardew had after that.
I can't believe that after what happened last time, what poor Ross did to you with that little clip. That you're still going to drag Hughton, knowing the trouble it lands you in.
I don't care. I'm not here to be consistent or correct. I'm here to just say stuff.
See, I did tell you, there's no pressure about this. Don't be insightful. Nobody's here for the insight. Do you think we'll beat them though? Given that he's a bang average manager,
yes,
we've got nothing to worry about.
I think we will.
You're not running the risk of looking a bit daft if we get turned over.
Yeah, I think we will too.
You think we'll win? It's away, isn't it?
I think Big Mo Diame might have another slice of magic up his left.
That was brilliant.
Calf
That
or
was
whatever.
my favourite moment in football in history.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Brighton will have on their side, which we weren't expecting, is news reaches us just this very moment as I was on the toilet that Tim Krul has gone to Brighton permanently.
Yeah.
Apparently, I thought he'd gone. I knew he was a loan, but I thought it was like, it's a loan because his contract's expiring. Apparently, the deal's been made official today, and that's why he hasn't been playing, because there was something wrong with the loan or something.
Luckily, it's freed up some wages we can now spend on nobody.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around at the minute. Will he start for Brighton? Is he that kind of level?
He started in the Cup last night, but obviously it's the League Cup. You play a dodgy team.
The Carabao Cup. The Shan Red Bull Cup, as it's henceforth going to be known.
Cup. I think he might. Matt Ryan.
I can't remember who that. Oh, yes, I was just going to say Matt Ryan.
Apparently,
did they go through? Did they?
I don't recall.
I don't know.
We have no
watch competitions. We're not involved in.
I think they may have lost 1-0 to Bournemouth.
But I tell you what, I'm gonna segue into the next thing I want to talk about because you've made a nice point for me there. We're not in it. Yeah. Is it? I mean, at the time it was doom and gloom because we'd lost another game. Transfer window would shut, or was about to shut. Nothing was happening. We looked adrift.
We didn't. If you let's put a clip in here, right, of when I said we do not need to turn a corner, and then we won 3 games.
I'm not here to be right, but when I am,
I'll milk it.
Well, I'm just saying, is it a shame that we've clearly hit a good vein of form and we've got a squad which isn't just the bare 11? Is it a bit of a shame we've gone out of that competition?
It depends on what you think of the League Cup, doesn't it? Because if you think...
I'd like to win it.
Yeah.
That's the
I wouldn't celebrate any less hard if we won that than anything else.
Would you get relegated and win the League Cup?
Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't. And I think if you
Why
play more games, it runs the risk. I
don't
think that now.
There was a fantastic stat doing the rounds the other day, but you people sort of bring up Wigan. Well, look what happened to them. Wigan's win percentage went up They didn't take the cup seriously for the first couple of rounds. They didn't play a full strength title the 6th round, and then their win percentage and points per game went up when they started fielding the proper team.
Yeah.
So there you are.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael Cox at Zonal Marketing for that one.
I'd obviously rather be in it because. What's the point?
How else do you win it?
Yeah.
As the old adage goes.
What's the point of a club that doesn't try and win things? But that's kind of Mike Ashley's MO, isn't it?
Well, we're gonna have an Ashley free episode today. I think.
Let's not do that.
I don't think that Rafa wanted to be in that cup.
Really?
Because of the team he picked.
Who did he start? I wasn't there.
Dan Barlaser.
Lazar.
All right, Lazar. Fair enough.
And. No, they're not, but they're not bad players.
You only picked 2 players. You must have really wanted to get out of
I
it.
remember the last time Dan Barlaser made a
Oxford
key Premier League appearance.
A Premier League? I don't think he ever has.
There hasn't been one. That's correct, Adam. That's what I was getting at.
Okay.
I don't because
played Handy as well.
There were some other options ahead of them. Like Handy was on his way out of the club at the time. There were people who could have played.
He would have said.
Yeah. You stop interrupting us, please.
Sorry.
He could have played other options ahead of them. That wouldn't have even been first team, and he didn't. He chose these. It was one step away from playing Yassine YouTube boy, like he did in the FA Cup last season.
I thought he was going to be quite good.
He's good at keepy-ups. But I can do keepy-ups. I can do 2.
Right.
3 sometimes.
Well,
if I accidentally need
that's not going on YouTube. Unless you did it right now, in which case it will literally go on YouTube. That's right, so we can take or leave the cup. We hope...
No, I'm saying that. That's the most pragmatic thing. But if we won that cup, I would not.
How would you both feel? Let's say the FA Cup 3rd round's not too far away. It's near's Christmas.
Christmas
soon. It's not too far away. How would you feel if he plays a really weakened side? And that would you be like, well, it's pragmatic. We've got the league to focus on.
I'd be very, very disappointed.
I think it's a when, not an if.
Yeah,
I think it'll happen.
You can play a weakened side.
I think it'll happen too.
We're getting carried away, I think, talking about the FA Cup. Forgive me, I brought no notes.
No, but it's a cup question, isn't it? So
got Champions League to qualify.
Yeah, we've got Champions League to qualify
for now. If we're 4th place, I wouldn't care if you played the tea lady himself.
I'd be up for that. I'd go at that.
Us.
I'd definitely go then if he was playing us. Brighton, though, can I just bother you both for a balls to the wall prediction, please?
I think we'll. I think we'll win, and I don't think they'll score. That's a
1-0, Andy Murray.
I'll go 1-0. I'll go Horselu, on his 7th shot of the game in the 68th minute.
God, I really, really hope that happens. So
If
I can
that
put
comes
that in.
off,
Imagine.
Place
You're
your bets.
an idiot if you don't put a quid on that now, by
I'm
the way.
doing it. I'm doing it.
No, you're not. You're standing here. We've got Liverpool after that, innit? The games start getting tougher after this Brighton
well,
game.
You say
we
tougher.
could sack Klopp by beating them.
That'd be funny,
I think
wouldn't it?
that would be very funny. But then they might hire Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I don't think Klopp's that
He
close
wouldn't
to the
take the
exit.
pay cut.
I don't think Klopp's that close to the exit, personally. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? I went through it all beforehand. Goalies, we don't really talk about it. I don't know, quite a brief one this week.
League Cup.
League Cup, well, we're out of it. No point talking about
Not
it.
gonna win that.
Got a good win. Tim Krul's away. We're
You
not really
didn't
that
talk about
arsed.
the other goalkeepers, though.
Yeah, I decided to set that off once the thought came into my head. Rob Elliott's number 1, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's it.
We all know
There's
this
a strange thing with Rob Elliott. That save, for instance, which he didn't make, which he should have made.
Yeah.
You could tell straight away,
There was a
mine.
swaz
Yeah.
on it, but he should have got it. It
Yeah.
went straight
He
through.
I don't
went-
think he was expecting it.
He went down like a tree.
Yeah.
Which
Which is my style of goalkeeping.
We won.
I would have
Improbably, we won another game at.
Did you?
Don't know if you're aware of this. My 5-a-side team basically got
He's in
beat
the worst
every
5-a-side
week.
team in the world.
Oh, wow.
6-a-side, 7-a-side, whatever it is. Got beat every week for
Maybe
a
that's
year,
why you lose.
more or less. And then we won a game a couple of weeks ago. Couldn't believe it, right? Then we won another game 2 weeks ago. Couldn't believe it. And then we won again on Monday. So we've had like 3 wins in the
Maybe
last
your
6 games.
form's tied to Newcastle's form.
Maybe it is.
Don't lose any
But
games.
we went behind on Monday. This is all these are going to
Crowd
be now.
swelled.
Oh, I think it's one of the worst goals I've ever let in. I was just stood upright, not even expecting the lad hit. And I went, oh, and tried to reach down and grab. It was literally about that far away from us. Oh, and it went in. And I was like, I can't.
As he slipped by.
I can't believe I've done that. 1-3-1.
Looking at his Twitter mentions at the time, no doubt. At Adam.
With me gloves on.
Googling
You're
yourself.
mad.
I mean, you cut a little hole.
No,
You're fine.
made a cracking save at the end though. That was happy with that. Anyway, we won. So that's all the 2 major football teams in the North East covered: Newcastle
Yours,
United
yeah.
and my 6-a-side
What
team.
about the other ones?
You're going to organise the work football, aren't you?
I am.
We're going to provide you absolutely no footage of that whatsoever.
Come and watch though when we've sorted out where we're going to play.
Why not?
Don't do that.
Any other business you think we should get through? All the
Did
speculations
nobody-
died down. Rafa's had his little stitches healed up.
Did nobody send
Yeah.
any messages for me that you've met in public? As
No, not
usual
this week.
happens,
Not
or-
this week.
No.
Not this week. But you know, if you do see me out and about, do feel free to tell me how much you rate Simon's
Yeah.
opinions.
Nonsense.
His hot takes.
Very hot takes.
What about you? Anything to bring to this?
It's all a bit boring at Newcastle at the moment, isn't it?
Winning
Yeah.
games, I know.
Yeah, winning games. There's no crisis on the horizon.
It is quite kind of weird that, because when I was looking at, what can we talk about today, I was like, well, we'll beat Stoke. Tim Krul's got a couple of
20 minutes of
performances.
filler, I can complain about lots of things.
Well, Paul Dom didn't even play, mate. So that's 10 minutes of filler.
Still got a club
He's
number.
still
hasn't
ex-
he?
He's still
Yeah.
got a shirt number.
He still exists.
Oh, if we want to find something else to fill the remaining 1 minute 52 on the card, Wilfred Boney being number 2 at Swansea. I'd realise that.
Hey.
That's disgusting.
He deserves not to score any goals.
Campaign for traditional squad numbers.
I think Sheffield Wednesday's keeper played with number 2 on the back of his shirt last season. Kieran Westwood.
That's absolutely disgusting.
I might be wrong.
That's
That's
absolutely
'cause he's a
disgusting.
maggot.
Yeah, it's
Right.
repulsive.
Ugh. We were talking about this SPL the other day.
Yeah.
Where your man had 0+1 on the back of his shirt.
Zeru Ali. Rest in peace.
0-1, sorry.
Yeah.
He's dead.
He yes, tragically crashed his car into a tree, I believe. Horrific.
This has gone dark.
Yeah.
That's taking a...
So actually scored the equalising goal in the first ever game I went to.
And now he's dead?
Yeah.
Well,
Sure they're not linked.
Let's hope not.
Ross did specifically ask me to end this on a somber note, so I think that we'll
Yeah?
just use that one.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, NUFC Fans Forum. I've been joined by Simon Gallagher at Cy Gallagher on Twitter. Andy Murray, you can find you
Hi.
where?
Andy H. Murray on Twitter.
Andy Murray.
Andy Murray.
Should probably add him.
And yeah, probably.
Well, I think we should.
Gives a follow.
Don't know. I mean, if you want to get attached, that's up to you. That's fine. And Adam Clear on Twitter. We'll be back next week. Do let us know in the comments what you thought. Will we beat Brighton? Are you going to miss Tim Krul? Is it all really, really boring now that we win games? Until next time, everyone say bye. Say bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I can't believe I have to edit this now.
I'm gonna have to
Lovely.
Did the camera stay on and everything?
Yeah, literally, there's
Oh, it's still recording.
50...